Hey, it's Marcus here, and in this video I'm going to show you how I'd make 100K per month ASAP in my e-commerce if I would have to start from scratch. Now, before we jump into the whole process, where does all of this stuff come from, right? So I'm an eight-figure brand owner myself. I coach brands, brand founders, how to run their acquisition in-house. I do that for over 30 brands now. Um, I helped dozens of brands get to 100K ASAP and half a dozen brands to get to 1 million a month, right, from that stage or from similar stages. So all of these findings, all of these things that I tell you here are based on actual real data. The whole portfolio is spending over 2 million a month currently. So everything that I share with you is not just fluff, right, that I came up with, but this is actual stuff that is working and has been validated with millions and millions of ad spend, okay? So you don't have to spend all of that money and make all the mistakes that I did, okay? So let's jump right in. What's the fastest way to actually scale your e-commerce brand to 100K per month? Maybe you are at 50K per month, 20K per month, right? Or you had 100K month, but it's not really consistent. So here we're talking about doing the foundations of making 100K per month consistently, no matter what, not just with like one sale or something like that. This doesn't really count. And also setting the foundations to get to 1 million a month, okay? So the first thing that I always start with, and that you also should start with, is the highly scalable front-end offer, right? I cannot stretch this enough. I know we will talk about creatives and all of that stuff, and I know it's tempting to jump right in there to just find this one creative. But let me tell you something, like this here is for 80% of the e-commerce brands, if not even more, if not even 90% of the e-commerce brands and shops that I see. Like I'm doing audits every single week, right? So I know what's out there and what most likely your situation is. This is a real problem, right? So not a lot of people are actually thinking about this, right? So they're struggling with very low AOVs, trying to sell single products, and really just not understanding how an offer has to be constructed so that we can scale profitably with ads, okay? So in order to do all of this stuff profitably, we need this. Okay, so the first thing is really to pick the right product. And you know, if you only have one product, this is easy, right? That's your product to go with. But if you have, for example, a product portfolio, let's say you have like 3 to 5 product lines, right? And you're not really sure which one to advertise. The first mistake is to just try to crack everything at the same time, right? To try to crack like 3 different products at the same time. I've seen many brands waste hundreds of thousands of dollars and just like years with trying to do that, right? Don't do it. Trust me. Pick one, choose the right one, and then double down on this one and optimize the things until it works, right? This is the way where you can actually scale like consistently. So how do you do this? Like the first thing that I always do when somebody joins my mentorship essentially is to look at their Shopify and and you can do that also at home or now, not now after the video, is essentially look at Shopify, your reports, the last 90 days, only filter for first-time customers, right? So people that bought the first time, and just look at, okay, what are these people purchasing, right? So what are products that people purchase on the first order currently, right? So this might be biased depending on what product you advertised, but what I'm looking for is what are some products where I actually see a high AOV that people buy on the first order, right? And in many cases you find products that are not really advertised, but still contribute a lot when it comes to the first time orders, right? So this is one source. The other source is obviously just to understand for all of your products, like what's the market behind these products? And what I like to understand is I don't want to be the only one selling a product in the whole world. This is a big red flag, right? Because what I want to have, or what I want to do finally, and this is what we're going to talk about here, is I want to tap into an existing need, an existing pain inside of the market. I actually want to go into a saturated niche when it comes to like the pain that people have, and then position my product as the best solution for this specific pain point. Okay, so that's why it's very important to study the market to understand. Okay, this is my product. Let's say it's like a supplement for bladder issues for women. Okay, so this is what I want to understand. Okay, like what are the other solutions out there? Do I see other people pushing, or other brands pushing on paid ads, right? Because this already tells me there is something, right? If nobody's spending on it, you don't want to be the first one, unless you have millions in your bank account and you don't care, which not a lot of people do. Then you want to see that there is some traction, right? Because this helps us with identifying, okay, what's currently working the best in the market, how can we make it better, how can I position my product better, and so on and so forth. But I'm tapping into an existing demand, okay? So this is the second part. Then, once you've identified that, right? So let's say, I don't know, you have some kind of supplement, right? Where you have identified that you have some kind of capsules against nerve pain, okay? Cool. You have identified there is a market, other people are also selling, there's a need in the market, there's a pain in the market. So, and this was anyways the product that you didn't even advertise, but people were already purchasing. Okay, so that's where you go with, okay? Block out all the other products. I know it might sound harsh and it might be hard, but ultimately, for all of this stuff here, and you will see this is a long process, we need focus. And we cannot spread ourselves too thin. We cannot do this for 3 things at the same time. It just doesn't work, okay? It's way easier to do it for one, scale this one up, and then you will have way more resources to do it for the other products as well. Okay, this, check, okay? We picked the product. Now, the right offer structure. This is the next very important thing. Now, when you try to sell using paid ads, and we're trying to grow using paid ads, like this is our goal, right? We want to use the paid ads engine to scale our entire business. We want to be profitable in the first sale, right? And this is really important. And there's an issue with selling low AOV options, right? So low average order values, which is, let's say you have the supplement, let's just continue this example, and one let's say pouch costs like $49, okay? So to be able to scale this product with just offering something for $49 is going to be extremely hard, right? Because you have to subtract like cost of goods sold, right? You have to subtract shipping. You have to like take off all of this stuff. And then the question is, what's left for advertising? So this would mean your CPA has to be something like 20 or 25 or 29. Like how realistic is it to actually spend like 10,000, 20,000 a day? I mean, to get to 100K, you don't need to spend that kind of money. But to spend like 2K, 3K, 5K potentially, and maintain the CPA, not very realistic, okay? So this is why the first thing to do is really to, change your mindset around acquisition. So what we do is basically, instead of offering just this, we offer 3 options, okay? This is something that I like to do. So either, there's 2 ways to do it. Either you offer more of the same, okay? Or you offer a bundled solution of products that together help solve the pain point that people have, okay? Either way, our goal is to get the AOV up. And by up, I mean close to around $100 or even more, right? Because this gives us way more room to actually spend money on a new customer and still make profit, right? So when we're looking at the whole competition, we're now able to spend 50 bucks potentially to acquire a customer instead of the 20 bucks before, right? We just sell this one, we sell this higher AOV better, okay? So very important, high AOV, right? Try and don't think like, I heard this so many times, this won't work. Like now people are not even buying for like 30 bucks or 40 bucks. My AOV is like 45. How would somebody buy for 100 bucks? I've heard this so many times, and so many times after we've implemented it, people were like, wow, I didn't believe it. But now it's real. Like, how can we improve the AOV, right? How can we make it even higher so I can spend more? So very important, focus on high AOV, okay? Don't waste your time with these low AOV things. Yes, there are, versions with subscriptions and stuff like that, but this is, you really have to know your numbers to the T and know exactly how many people churn after every single month. So it's way more complex, okay? So that's why I always usually recommend, like we're talking about ASAP, I'm recommending the high AOV one, okay? Then what's important, I said we have to sell it better. How do we do that? We make sure that the value exceeds the price by far, okay? So for this $100 price, people, like we want to sell people something for, let's say, worth 130 or even 150, okay? So that we can say the actual, like you're actually saving 30 bucks or 25% or whatever the case may be, right? Because this helps us to make it more attractive for them, right? So instead of purchasing the single product at full price, you rather purchase 3 and save 25%, right? Plus, another thing that we can do is, obviously this depends on the product, but let's stick to the nerve pain supplement, is that, and in many cases this is true, right? That one pouch is not going to be enough to see long-lasting results, right? So you will see the best results if you already have your supply for the next 3 to 6 months, right? And we might run out of stock by then. So it's actually, you're saving more, and you're going down the route of all the people that see the most success, right? Which are the people that use it consistently for 3 to 6 months, right? So all of a sudden, in the customer's mind, it gets way more interesting to say, well, then I'll buy the three pack, and boom, there you have it. AOV jumps up from 49 to 100, okay? So this is very important. The value has to be clear. It has to be clear that you would be paying XYZ, but you're actually only paying that, okay? Then the next thing is obviously risk. Now, in our example, again, there's a risk attached to every purchase. Like every person that is thinking about purchasing from you, there's a huge risk attached to it, because it might be that they've tried, and most likely they've tried out a bunch of stuff already before and it didn't work, okay? So now you're the next one telling them that your solution is the best one, okay? But how can I know? Like, this is a lot of risk. I don't want to be paying like 100 bucks and then seeing, well, it doesn't work, and then I just lost 100 bucks. So how can we reduce the risk as much as possible for these people? And the answer is, in most of the cases, a guarantee, okay? Basically, to take away the risk, right? This is like those two things are important because we're selling at a higher price, so there's more risk attached to it. But we can take away this risk by just offering them like a 60-day money-back guarantee or 90-day money-back guarantee, right? And obviously, like I'm talking to you now and you're seeing this video, my assumption, like I expect that you have a great product, right? If you have a shitty product, like forget about all of this stuff, right? You can use it still, but you're going to scam people, which is not something that I would recommend. And so I'm talking to you as a brand owner that actually has a great product that needs to get out there, okay? But you're just struggling to get it out there profitably. All right, so now we've covered this, okay? So now you have this highly scalable front-end offer where you have an AOV of 100, 130, 150, right? Whatever the case makes sense. And people, like this is, but at the same time, it's really attractive, right? For people to purchase, right? So just to complete that before, usually what I do is I have a 1, 3, and 6 offer, okay? Instead of just giving them one option, give them 3 options, right? And then the more they buy, the more they save. Very easy, right? So this is how you can actually have offers up until 40%, for example. Yes, they save 40%, but they also spend like 180 bucks, okay? So there you go. Now, this done. Next step, what would I do? Test and validate angles. Now, this is the next important step here, is basically to figure out like who do I sell this to and what's the best way to communicate with this target audience so that they understand how my product, how my front-end offer is solving their pain point, okay? So how do I go about this? Identifying angles is like twofold. Like number one, I want to understand like what are the product ingredients, and this is so interesting because yes, like a lot of founders and a lot of you, like you know your product inside out, but you know it from the production standpoint, right? What we want to understand is here we want to switch to the consumer perspective purely, right? Because it's all about communicating. And we have to tie it to needs and pains that are bugging them every single day, right? This is what we want to, how we want to communicate. Otherwise, they will not understand us, right? So when I'm talking about product ingredient research here, is really to understand like and this is what I like to do personally, this is the exact process that I use, to understand what are all the ingredients that are in this product. And what are all the potential benefits of each of the ingredients, right? So this gives me an idea, or like how, or against what can ingredient XYZ help, right? And this gives me a good indication of, okay, those are, let's say, a couple of angles or pain points that I can identify and that I can actually advertise my product for as a solution. The other one is just market desire research. And the goal is actually to match those two, right? To understand, okay, what are potential like angles that are out there in the market, like pain points that people have that I can identify, where I can position my product to. So this, in another way, this is just about positioning, okay? So a big mistake that a lot of brands do is they advertise their product as like the solution to everything. Okay, this helps you against X, Y, Z, blah, 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 blah. But this is kind of like saying this helps against everything and nothing at the same time. You always have to think like your customer or the person that ultimately purchases your product comes with one primary problem. And our goal is to highlight how our product helps against this one problem, because they only care about, or mainly care about, this one problem. Yes, it's nice if like some other problems that I also have get resolved, but I have one main problem. So let's talk about the nerve pain thing, for example. There are different spots in the body where you could, feel nerve pain, right? This could be in the eyes. This could be in your I don't know, in your legs, right? This could be on your back, right? Those are different angles already, right? Because behind every angle is a different target audience with a very specific pain point. Our job is to identify what are the potential angles, right? So this is basically this here. What are the potential angles for my current product? And then what we do is to validate them, okay? And I'm going to tell you quickly how I do this and how this is very efficient and how you can save a lot of money doing that. So we don't want to jump to, let's say, doing full-fledged like video creatives with UGC, hiring an army of creators, blah, 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 like the typical stuff, when we don't even know which one of those pain points is actually the most important one, right? So it might be eye, it might be back, it might be legs, but we cannot just hire, do all of the creatives for all of these angles. There's a bunch of money, bunch of time, and we need to go get there ASAP, okay? So what I always do, is to actually start with very simple static ads, right? And what you do is for every single angle here, you identify what are 5 to 10 customer, let's say, testimonials, right? Or something that a customer would say to themselves in their, in their thoughts, and you print those on on image creatives. Okay, the image creative, like the static ad, stays the same for all of the angles. It's just the product. You have a little bit of social proof, and you have like the hero of the creative is your message. Okay, so for example, let's say for the eye pain is like my eyes were like my eye nerves. I had such nerve pain in my left eye until I found this. Okay, that would be one statement. Okay, so what we want to do essentially is to just attract people that once they read this message, they're like, yes, that's me, or yes, this is what I want. Okay, and once you do this, I usually recommend like 3 to 5 angles, right? So let's say you have 3 angles, then you have 5 messages per angle. Those are 15 static ads. You test them against each other, and this way you can identify, hey, which one shows the most potential, right? And when I'm talking about showing potential, I'm not necessarily talking about like having a perfect CPA that is scalable. No, I'm talking about, I just want to know like which way should I go, which angle should I double down on now and do all of these other efforts, okay? So it could be, something that you see, for example, in testing, that the CPC, right, for one specific angle is just way lower. It's like 3 times, 5 times lower than on the other ones, okay? So this is something that's interesting. And this is something that I would like to double down on, okay? So I'm looking also for like higher funnel KPIs that show me, if this has potential. Cool. Then you validate it. This is basically, let's say, eye pain, okay? Eye nerve pain. This is validated. Cool. What's next? The next step is essentially to find high converting angle creatives. And here it's very important to, like, a couple of things are very important to not skip, okay? Again, I see people jumping to UGCs, because everybody's doing UGCs and all the UGC agencies tell you that this is what you need to do, of course, because that's what they sell. But we want to have the highest ROI possible on every dollar that we invest, okay? So what we do is, first of all, we have to understand like what's the market sophistication, okay? When it comes to, obviously when it comes to like the the angle, the promises that are out there, but also when it comes to the ad creatives. Okay, so let's say, are people in this angle used to seeing a lot of UGC, right? Or are they used to seeing a lot of static ads, right? So I want to understand, like, how sophisticated are they when it comes to the creatives? And when I look at the creatives of competitors, like, do they have a bunch of guarantees, all of them? So this already tells me, okay, it seems like very skeptical audience. They're very sophisticated. They understand, what works, what doesn't, right? Do I see a lot of, let's say, scientific proof, right, or references that studies have been made about this in multiple creatives, right? This gives me an idea of how sophisticated the market is. Very unsophisticated market would essentially be that you don't have to explain a lot, and people, just believe it, right? But this is usually when you have like a very unique mechanism, right, that is not very new to the market, but makes sense to people. And yeah, but this is a very important part to understand and to, research when you look at competitors, and at the market, to understand, like, what do I need, like, how do I need to talk to people essentially so that they believe me. Then what we ultimately want is a stack of creatives across the different funnel stages. Okay, so I'm pretty sure you're familiar with the funnel stages. If not, check out the rest of my videos. I talk about this a lot. Is essentially, you have obviously like very aware people, product aware people, solution aware people, and problem aware people. Also unaware people, but we're going to exclude them here. What we want to do is actually come up with a stack of creatives for this funnel. Okay, so there are certain creatives that are very good at talking to people that have a certain problem and move them basically down, all the way to purchasing ultimately. But there are other creatives that are very good at, let's say, talking to people that are familiar with the type of solution now. For example, our nerve supplements. They've already understood, okay, there are these nerve supplements, but then there's also like surgery. There are other types of, or solutions, potential solutions. So then we would have creatives that speak to this audience as well. We're in the same angle, but we're in a different awareness level, and we help them understand why these supplements are superior to all the other solutions. Okay, so, and then obviously you have the very aware people that are just waiting for the last push, essentially, to purchase, which could be just a simple static ad with, hey, 40% off on the six-pack. Okay, so this is another thing to understand. But what should I focus on? What's the next step? Okay, when we're talking about ASAP, the next step is to create, and this is where most of my focus goes, top of funnel, high converting ads and viral ads. Okay, so the reason why is that those are the ads that can alter the trajectory of an account overnight, right? This is not going to work, when you have just a bunch of static ads that say 30% off or whatever the case may be, or just talk about your product, right? We need to talk to people that have a problem and move them down to isolate that our product is the only solution. And those are the type of creatives that you need to focus on. So don't waste time, talking about like having product or ads like 3 reasons why this is the best product, right? Or, most asked questions about product XYZ, right? We have the best product. Like, nobody cares about this unless they're in these lower funnel stages already. But if you don't serve these higher funnel stages, this it won't work, right? You will try to spend more money and your return on ad spend will crash all the time. Okay, so this is very important. Now, once we have that, then we can talk about having a high converting funnel. Okay, so the high converting funnel is essentially trying to maximize the revenue per visit. Okay, and this is very important before we really like push spend aggressively, is to figure out what's the right combination between creative and funnel, right? And believe it or not, this is something that also a lot of brands, they just don't focus on, right? Obviously, in the beginning, you're sent to the product page, but then you want to actually have pages that help you to spend more efficiently in these higher funnel stages. So basically on colder audiences, on people that have never heard of your brand, never even heard of the type of solution that you offer, right? So for that, we need more space, we need more time to actually explain how our product is better and different. And what I would recommend here is really that you test different landing page styles, right? And you test, for example, just a classic sales page, right? Then you test a listicle and you test an advertorial, right? Just to have different types of landing pages and figure out what is working, right? Obviously, behind all of these, there's a huge universe of like testing different styles and stuff like that. But the important part is that you continue the conversation about how your product is the perfect solution to the pain point that they have, right? So the stuff that you tell in your creative, you want to reiterate that on the landing page, because you never know how much somebody saw from your ad before they click. So then you reiterate that, and this really helps you to frame, or gives you the opportunity also to frame people. For example, what we discussed on the on the 3-pack or on the 6-pack, so that people also purchase more, right? So you increase the AOV and the conversion rate, and this is how you really make huge jumps when it comes to just scaling more profitably. Okay. Another thing here is to include upsells and cross-sells. So this is something that a lot of people just miss, right? And they're, again, missing on the revenue per visit. And this is purely for AOV, essentially. And what I recommend is really to have like a one-click upsell, right? I think the app is actually called, it's called a one-click upsell by Zipify. You can use, anyone, not affiliated with them. But essentially what you do is, after the purchase, after people purchase, before they go to the thank you page, you have the opportunity to give them specific offers, right? Special one-time offers that they can take with one click, okay? And this is genius because the conversion rate stays the same. You already have the purchase, and you can go super aggressive with these next offers because you already paid for the purchase, right? So this is a great way to actually increase the AOV by 20, 30% sometimes with the same exact CPA. And this is just pure profit here. And you're able, like this will enable you to just bully your competition at some point, okay? Now, we got this high converting funnel. This is also done. This is also done. We're nearing the end here. And the last thing that I would do to get to 100K per month ASAP. I mean, by this time, I should be really close to, let's say do a 3K per month, or 3K per day, 3 to 5K per day, something around that. But what's the engine to get there, right? What's the engine to actually get there as fast as possible? And this is rapid testing weekly. And I cannot stress this enough, because some people, or I don't know where this came from, but some people, they assume that they put up a couple of random creatives once a month or maybe twice a month, and they complain why stuff is not working. Okay? I want to make this 100% clear. If your goal is seriously to get to 100K per month, and then from there to 1 million a month, which I think this should be the goal, right? Because we all know what the margin structure is and stuff like that. Like, if you want to make serious money, live off of that, and potentially sell the company, like 100K per month, it's nice, but we need to get to 1 million a month, right? At least, okay? That's just my personal opinion. Obviously, if you say I'm fine with 100K per month, nice, but still, you need to test rapidly, and you need to have a testing structure to actually make sure that every single week there are new assets coming into your ad account, okay? If this is not the case, this is going to be very hard, right? Or unnecessarily hard. So what do we do with this rapid testing strategy? I mean, in general, what I always say is like 30 new ad creatives per week is great. 3 batches of net new creatives, meaning net new creative types, right? Or creative concepts. Each of those always with hooks or variations, right? So when we talk about, okay, this 90% top of funnel ones, those should be 90% of the ads that you test are those. And those are video creatives in most of the cases. So you would have 3 to 5 hooks for each one of them. Let's say 5 hooks, 3 net new batches. That's already 15 creatives, right? Plus, we obviously double down on the winners, right? So whatever we see that is working, we create more variations from that, right? We create more visual hooks. We take the winning hook, right? Extract it and basically do similar hooks to find better hooks. We change the, how the creative is, cut, right? We can change the B-roll. There's so much stuff that we can do to try to make it better. And this is very easy then to get to 30 new ad creatives a week, right? Double down on winners, as I said, iterations and new styles, right? So maybe we see, okay, this is kind of like the top winner has a story of a woman that is like 55 and she got over her eye nerve pain using these, using these supplements, okay? So can we do the same for men, okay? Can we do the same with another creator, right? Can we make the story longer, go a little bit more into the pain that she had, right? So there are many, many things that we can do to make a winner better, right? Okay, 30 new ad creatives per week, perfect, AI-powered and modular creative system. So this is also just another, let's say, gem from my side for you guys. AI-powered. I think the last video that I uploaded, I had like I showed the script writing process that I use using AI. Okay, it's just one part of the script writing process. And in today's, I had a call actually with a mentee, like a brand of mine that are in my mentorship yesterday, and I showed them in 5 minutes how to write like 30 ad scripts. And we are in a time, we're living in a time where this is possible. So this cannot be the issue. This cannot be the bottleneck. There's so many, ways to do this. I have like extensive material in my mentorship on how to do this and how to AI prompt, scripts for creatives, briefs for creators, right? Like all of that. If you know how to do it, this is really easy. This is not a bottleneck. Then the other thing is to have a modular creative system, which is basically that you don't treat like one script as one try, right? This is what a lot of people do. They say, okay, this is one script. Okay, this is my script here. And then I have basically one shot, which is one creative, okay? What I always want is like, I never know what's really going to go crazy and work. So what you always want to do is you want to make sure that if you have your script, okay, is that you always have multiple hooks, right? You always have multiple hooks for your script. This already gives you multiple chances that this script can work, right? I also want you to look at your creative not just as this is one creative, but you look at it as this is the hook, this is the lead, and this is the body, okay? And this is the CTA. So you can basically switch out these, these parts of the creative, and this gives you unlimited amounts of creatives. The important part is that you treat it modular, and you also, for example, when it comes to the content, you really like work with different content buckets. This is too much for one video now, but I'm going to talk about this in future videos. To essentially make sure that you don't have to produce new content for every single new video that you produce, right? You want to have a library of content snippets, of different types of content snippets that you can reuse in every single creative, right? So this would speed you up even more. Sometimes, for example, it makes sense to use AI voiceovers or human voiceovers, but you don't need to, shoot a completely new, content, right? You already have the content, and it's more about which script actually works, okay? All right, just to summarize, highly scalable front-end offer, get over $100, right? For sure, if not even more, and make it super attractive for the people. Then identify your angle, like what's the angle that is going to work for you specifically, where do you see the most traction, double down on that. Third, focus on 90% on top of funnel creatives while respecting market sophistication and really understand like that those are the creatives that are going to change the trajectory of the whole account. Test different funnels, right? All within the angle, we stay within the angle. And then fifth is rapid testing every single week. Make sure that you have a full pipeline of creatives that focuses on the angle and on a specific creative type. And then, like, this is the exact way how I'd get to 100K per month ASAP if I had to start again from scratch. I hope that was helpful. Guys, let me know in the comments if you liked it. Like the video, obviously, but comment your questions, right? I'm going to answer all of them. And if you are, close to 100K or you're on the way to 100K, or you just want to, like you're just starting out, you have a great product, and you don't want to, go through all of this agency hell, you actually want to own this process, then this is exactly what I do, right? So click the first link in the description. This goes to my mentorship, right, where you can apply to my mentorship. And this is basically what we do to get you to 100K per month ASAP. And obviously a lot more things, but just to show you, like, this is the exact process, basically with all the, templates and everything is laid out so you can run through this as fast as possible, right? So yeah, let me know if you like that. As I said, if you want to speed things up, just apply for my mentorship and we see if there's a fit. Other than that, share the video with everybody you know that could take value out of it. And I hope you got value out of it. If so, please make sure to spread the word. And yeah, see you in the next one. Take care.